Some people think that English is the hardest language to learn, but what if I told you, like, a language that is forgotten to most, and it's an ancient language, and it's not hard to find. You don't have to go get a book or do any type of research to find this language. Our first language was silence, right? Silence. And with silence, and just sitting in silence, you're able to see and like just use the rest of your senses. And you thinking like, oh, we only have 5 senses, and then people have said 9 senses. We have way more than that, right? That's only as much as science so far in this world has gone to. So the rest is just unknown or a mystery or it don't exist. But you have more than 9 senses, because you have to think we're both spirit and we're flesh. We're a 2-in-1 deal, shadow and light, right? We're both. So, and then like when you practice that language, well, I'm sorry, and the language is silence. My bad. And when you practice silence and just sit in silence, like with yourself, and like I was saying it, I'm just looking over here in my notebook. So I was over here working on some stuff. So like I said, like when you open yourself up to silence, you open a door that you possibly just don't even know existed yet. But this door, it's like a master door that has many, 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 many other doors, right? It's like infinite doors. And those doors just represent infinite paths, infinite roads, infinite possibilities, infinite thoughts, dreams, anything, everything, right? But it's accessed through the mind. And also, and it goes with stillness, our first movement. And when you sit in stillness and do absolutely nothing, you can feel everything. And this is why I always say, like, everything is nothing and nothing is everything. And then it makes me think about the source, the all, right? It's everything, and then it's also nothing. And also, and I'm gonna keep saying it, brings me back to the number 0, right? From 0 to 1, something came out of nothing. And that's why the number 1 is like associated with like arrogance, like the strong confidence, all of that, boastful. Like, who wouldn't brag about that, right? Something came from nothing. But then that also just have to be balanced, because number 2 came after number 1. But the numbers really didn't start in that order either. But we ain't getting into all of that right now. Nope. So I just want to talk about light codes, the light language. Light languages is accessed through silence. Now, this is something, like I was saying, like you don't have to pick up no type of book. You don't have to do no type of research. All you have to do is just sit and wait. And that's it. Just sit and wait. And once you understand the ins and the outs of silence, you can understand now the opposite of silence, right? So if you understand words, now you'll be able to understand emotions, or the absence of words, and silence. And silence, I hear a lot. It's so loud. And I only say that because I started working on another topic. Like I said, my mind does trains. It just jumps. But I'm always happy to learn. But I was working on a time machine. And then so I'm just thinking, like, because according to Google, I'll just say that, they say like, oh, nobody ever put a time machine together, or it's never existed. Nobody ever traveled through time, or nobody was ever cloned before. But we know per 1945 tells a different story. Or is it 1942 or 1945? Whatever. But one of those years tells a whole different story that history just keeps sweeping under the rug, right? But physically, there was a time machine, and there still is. I'm not going to get into the depths of that because I'm still working on that too myself. But the other time machine spiritually is your mind. And so the words I was putting together, and it was just random words, like the stuff that you would need to possibly start time. Like, of course, you're going to need a dimension, which is length, width, and time, space, height, and ether. And then, like you're going to need particles from the past, present, and the future, because you're going to need a part of all time to travel through time. So you're going to need every piece of time. I don't really want to go into depths about that, but it came down to like man versus machine, like us versus AI, and how really, like, what if like we're the subjects, and the process of even like forming a thought is just like using like quantum physics, right? To process a thought and then move that thought through our mind with our energy, and then using our energy to send out signals to like other people, like telepathy and things like that. So that's just where my mind is. Like one thing leads me to another, but it all makes sense to me in my head. I promise. It makes perfect sense, and I'm not just rambling. But the part that I just really wanted to share with you is that we all should just start practicing our origins, the original. No, seriously, but just sit in silence sometimes when you have time. Like you can meditate, and just sit still and then just watch what happens, and just keep this going like a daily practice. And if you struggle to sit still, give yourself a timer, like even if it's like 30 seconds at a time. That's a huge victory for you. Who cares if somebody's like, oh, I can sit still for more than 30 seconds, but you couldn't. So that's all that matters here in this equation is you and what you can do to open yourself up so that you can time travel too through the mind, if that makes sense. I hope it does, but yeah.